Hello everyone, my name is Nathaniel and this presentation is on the rock art of Moab, Utah. So I decided to focus my project on rock art sites surrounding the Moab area. There are 6 sites, most of which were created by either the Fremont, the Ute, or the Navajo. And pretty much all of the sites have been classified as Barrier Canyon style. And these sites span from the Archaic period all the way to the 1600s. So there's a pretty good diversity in both the type of rock art, the people that created it, and time periods. The first site is the Courthouse Wash Panel, and that's located in Arches National Park. It features long tapered figures similar to those found in the Great Gallery in Horseshoe Canyon, Utah, which has some of the best rock art in Utah. And it is just like the Great Gallery, it's Barrier Canyon style. The more recent rock art on the Courthouse Wash Panel was created either by the Utes or ancestral Puebloans. There are some areas on the panel that were actually painted over, and that was most likely done by the Utes. It was also pretty severely defaced with wire brushes and soap in 1980, and that erased a good deal of the pigment on the panel, and nobody really knows who did that or why they did it. The second site is the Wolf Ranch panel, also located inside of Arches National Park. It was created by the Utes, and it depicts bighorn sheep, horses, and some smaller dog-like animals. Archaeologists were able to date this panel because of the inclusion of horses. Horses were introduced to North America around the 1600s, so obviously it had to have been created after that. And you can see there are some actually some riders on top of horses. It's a pretty cool panel. So the next site is the Potash Road panels. There's quite a lot of rock art on this site. It's located on Scenic Byway 279, also called Potash Road, because eventually it leads to the Potash Ponds. It was created by the Fremont and the Ute, and it contains a lot of animals like that bear there, anthropomorphic figures, and a lot of abstract images. So this is actually really one of the panels that really stands out on the wall. You can see it driving down the road. Looks like a bear, and there's actually an archer right on its back, and it looks like the archer is shooting an arrow into the bear, and then there's some bighorn sheep there as well. So that might be a depiction of a hunt. And these are just some more images of the Potash Road panels, a couple of anthropomorphic figures, some abstract images, concentric circles. That one in the lower left looks to be a group of people holding hands. Then in the top left there's one bighorn sheep, and then a couple of abstract images. People with spears, people with weird kind of animal-like headdresses or horns, and that's pretty typical in the Moab area. So like most of the other sites in Moab, most of the art is thought to have been created by the Fremont, with the more recent petroglyphs being likely created by the Ute. So the next site is the Moonflower Canyon Panels, which is located on Cane Creek Boulevard. They're pretty obviously Barrier Canyon style. A lot of those figures, again, look pretty similar to the Great Gallery. Just large, stretched out anthropomorphic figures and a lot of bighorn sheep. And this site was also pretty extensively vandalized. It's a little further off the road and not as protected, so you could go back there and vandalize it, and nobody would be around to see you do it. But yeah, overall not a super popular site, not really well known, but still pretty interesting. And next we have the golf course rock art, which was created by the Fremont and is most well known for the Moab man figure. And he or she is just a large anthropomorphic figure with either earrings, some sort of headdress, either headdress or antlers. Just a really distinct figure. It's kind of come to symbolize both the rock art in and around Moab and Moab itself. And this site is called the golf course rock art because it's further down a road which leads to the Moab golf course. And here's just a bigger picture of that whole panel with a couple of other figures. Again, just really strange heads. Not really sure what's going on there, but interesting. So next we have the birthing scene, and this is just a large boulder which is covered on all sides with rock art from ancestor Puebloans, Fremont, and Ute. And the actual birthing scene is Ute in origin, and it depicts a figure giving birth. You can see that on the right there. And then there's also just a lot of other animals, bears, snakes, centipedes. You can see a centipede in the bottom left of that picture there. And a lot of other anthropomorphic figures. This one's really interesting. I think it's really unique. I'm not aware of any other depiction of a birth. You can also see footprints leading up the panel, starting from close to the bottom and going past the figure that's giving birth there. So just a really cool sight. And here are some more pictures. That's the entire boulder there on the right. Then on the left, just some more figures, a lot of abstract images that I'm not going to try to interpret. But I think there's some snakes there, or at least some squiggly lines, and yeah, just a couple of other figures. So to summarize, Moab has a pretty great variety of rock art, and the rock art there represents a diversity in both style and culture, and it spans from the archaic all the way up to the Navajo in the 1600s. So a little bit about future projects and conservation. All the rock art found in Moab is pretty easily accessible, and it's visited by quite a lot of people each year, and that creates a big risk for both erosion and vandalism, which is something that has happened to the rock art around Moab quite a lot. So because of that, protection and conservation is especially needed. And if we want to ensure that people can continue to enjoy these sites for years to come, then future work should focus on conservation and preservation. And that picture there isn't actually rock art. Those are dinosaur tracks in sandstone, which are right down the road from the Potash Road panels. It's a little bit of a hike to get there, but pretty cool. You can see both rock art and dinosaur tracks on the same road, pretty close to each other. And these are just my sources. And that is it. So thank you.